If you've been waking up exhausted after a full night's sleep and can't figure out why your body feels like it's working against you, if you've been doing everything right, eating well, moving your body, taking the supplements, trying the protocols, and still nothing moves, I want you to know something before we go any further. You're not failing. Your body is not broken, and you're absolutely not alone. I know this because I have been exactly where you're sitting right now. And today I want to tell you what changed. Welcome to the Hashimoto's ReSet podcast. I'm glad you are here. My name is Kathy Fazer, and I'm a certified holistic nutrition consultant and metabolic balance coach. But more than that, I am a woman who spent years trying to figure out what's wrong with her body, being told she was fine, and knowing deep within that wasn't the truth. This podcast is for the woman who has tried everything and still can't figure out why it's not working. It's for the woman who crashes so hard at 2 p.m. she can barely drive home. The woman whose face is puffy and whose ankles are swollen and whose middle has changed in a way that no diet has touched. It is for the woman who's been to her doctor, maybe several doctors, and been handed a number, told her labs are normal, and sent home with a prescription. My dear, this podcast is for her. And if that is you, you are in the right place. What you can expect here: real education in plain language, client stories, myth busting, and the truth about what is actually happening in your body and what you can actually do about it. No wellness fluff, no vague advice, no "have you tried yoga?" Just real conversation every episode. I want to start by telling you my story because I think it might sound a little bit like yours. In 2018, I was diagnosed with an underactive thyroid, and I remember sitting in the doctor's office feeling relieved for about 5 minutes, and then finally a name and an answer. I was put on a medication and told everything should help, or this should help. But the medication did nothing, and I knew in the way that women know things about their own bodies when they actually pay attention, that something else was wrong. I was gaining weight, not because I was eating badly. I wasn't. I was doing everything right. The calories, cutting out sugar, eating extra protein, and still the number on the scale kept going up. The weight around my midsection kept growing, and I couldn't explain why. I was totally exhausted, not tired exhausted, where a good night's sleep fixes everything. Bone deep. I couldn't get off the couch, loved my bed, crashing at 2 p.m. every single day, totally exhausted. The kind of tired that makes you feel like your body is a stranger. My face was puffy, my ankles were swollen. I looked in the mirror and I didn't recognize myself. And I went back to my doctor and I was told my labs were fine. Normal, within range. Fine. I was told I was fine. And I want to say this clearly, my friend, because I know some of you are nodding right now, being told you are fine when you clearly are not fine. It's one of the most disorienting, demoralizing things a woman can experience, because when you know your body, you know something is wrong. And having that dismissed by a professional, by someone you trusted, it's its own kind of exhausting. I was exhausted from being sick, and I was exhausted from being told I wasn't. And then something shifted. For the first time in my life, and I can say this as someone who has always been the person who figures things out, who handles things, who does not make a fuss, I decided I was not going to settle for this feeling anymore. I found a naturopathic doctor, I did food sensitivity testing, and I found a book that changed everything for me. Within 3 weeks, I had lost 15 pounds, my energy was coming back, the puffiness was going down, and I remember standing in my kitchen thinking, why did nobody tell me this? Why did I have to figure this out on my own? And I went on TikTok because I wanted to share what I had found. I thought maybe a few women would relate. Maybe a few women were going through what I had been through. 700,000 women reacted to my single post. My only post sharing about my story. 700,000. And in that moment, I understood something I have not forgotten since. This was not just my story. This was theirs too. There were hundreds of thousands of women out there who had been told they were fine, who had tried everything, who had done all the right things and watched nothing work, who were exhausted and had dismissed quietly, losing hope. That was the moment I knew I had to do more than share my story. I had to give these women something to actually use. So I went back to school. I became a certified holistic nutrition consultant. And while I was waiting for my diploma, metabolic balance landed in my life. A program built on 36 biomarkers for your own blood work that creates a completely personalized nutrition plan for your specific body. My dear, it was everything I had pieced together through my own Hashimoto's journey, formalized into a methodology backed by doctors in Germany. It was exactly what I needed and I never had. I became a certified metabolic balance coach, and the ReSet program was born. I want to tell you about the ReSet program, not to sell you anything today, but because it is the reason this podcast exists. The ReSet program is a 12-week one-to-one program built specifically for women with Hashimoto's who have tried everything and cannot release the stubborn weight or get their energy back. And here's what makes it different from everything else she has tried. It starts with 36 biomarkers from her own blood work, not a generic protocol, not a plan designed for somebody else's body, a plan built for her specific results by metabolic doctors in Germany who developed this methodology. Because the reason nothing has worked is not that she hasn't tried hard enough. It's that she has been following someone else's plan, a plan that was never built for her body, her inflammation, her specific metabolic needs. I will be talking much more about this in these episodes ahead, but I wanted you to know from the start, there is a reason you are here. And there is a path through, and it's more specific and more achievable than anything you have been handed so far. One of my clients said something to me I came back to again and again. She said, "You've given me my life back, my self-worth, and my power back. That is why I do this work." In these episodes ahead, we're going to go deep, why you can't release the weight with Hashimoto's, and what's actually driving it, the 2 p.m. crash and what your body is telling you, what your doctor's thyroid panel is missing, keto, Weight Watchers, elimination diets, why they haven't worked, and what is different. We're going to talk about real client stories, real results, and the truth about what it takes to finally feel like yourself again in your body. And I want to ask you one more thing before we close today. If this episode resonated with you, if you heard yourself in any part of my story, will you share it with one woman who needs to hear it? Just one. Text it to a friend, post it on your stories, leave it in a Facebook group where women are struggling and not finding answers. Because this is how she finds us, and she needs to find us. My dear, I want to close today with one thing I most needed to hear when I was in the middle of it all. You're not broken. You're not failing. You're not run out of options. You've not tried everything. You've tried everything that's not built for you. And that is a very different thing. You deserve to feel amazing in your body again, not someday, not after you try one more thing that probably won't work, now. With the right support and right information, which is exactly what we're going to build together here. This is your time, my friend. I will see you in episode 2.